The KUDZUKIAN Network presents Riffin' on Jazz with your host, Howard Robertson and Malvin Massey.
Sonny Rollins.
You got to improve, man. You got Coltrane and Ornette Coleman and these boys coming up. You better get your stuff together.
Mr. Miles Davis.
White people are funny. In America, they thought that I just woke up one morning and had the blues and started playing the trumpet. But it don't go like that, and you can't explain that to them.
Miles was able to make something that was wrong into something that was right.
Now they know. I'm not an accident.
Riffin' on Jazz.
Welcome back to Riffin' on Jazz. This is your weekly visit with friends talking about the music that we love.
That classic African-American art form called jazz.
I'm Malvin Massey.
And I'm Howard Robertson.
My brother.
Back at you.
Good to see you, man.
Good to be seen, man. We are riffing on jazz, and we're talking about this week in jazz. This is a contemporary show. We're talking about all the latest stuff on the jazz charts, and we're going to get started with a standard from the Beatles called Eleanor Rigby by who?
Jake Shimabukuro.
Say that. The album is The Greatest Day. The cut is Eleanor Rigby. The artist is Jake Shimabukuro. Now, I know a lot of y'all out there got ears like German shepherds, right? And you listen to that and your ears perked up because you thought he was playing on the high end of a guitar. You would be wrong. Jake was playing a ukulele.
Yeah.
Yes, a ukulele, Hawaiian instrument that you guys have seen and seen folk just kind of strum chords. That's what he was playing, Malvin. Talk about him.
That's what's made him famous. He got a YouTube video of a gig that he played, a song he was playing. Mm-hmm. Somebody videoed it and put it on YouTube. He didn't even know he put it on there. It instantly took off. It went viral. Yeah, it was in 2006. After that, he got a gig with NPR. He got to Japan, and he really took off.
Been playing ukulele since he was like 4 years old, I understand.
Yeah. His mother was a ukulele player.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, he's been in Hawaii, lives in Hawaii, from Hawaii, but he's like, what, 6th generation, something like that, Japanese American. But this cat, man, he is taking everybody by storm. So this CD just put it out, and it already jumped on the chart.
It's called The Greatest Day. This is our contemporary show. All of these are featured on the Jazz Week charts.
Yeah.
And
smoothjazz.com. We stole a couple, but the charts sort of intermingle. Well, all right, we borrowed a couple.
Okay. So we go from one unusual jazz instrument to another.
Yeah. The French horn. You believe it?
Nobody play French horn in jazz.
Ken Wiley.
Come on, man.
Ken Wiley, man.
Really?
Yeah, he's making a legend of himself. But check him out.
Bolero.
What do you think? Ken Wiley with his French horn.
Hey man, French horn has a gorgeous sound anyway.
Anyway, yeah. That's from his new CD, Cuerno Exotica.
Say that.
Cuerno Exotica. Yeah, that's the one. Ken Wiley, he's a Hollywood type.
Yes, he is, because his studio work includes Family Guy, The Cleveland Show, American Dad. He's done stuff with Fall Out Boy and Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
To name a few.
And plays live at all the festivals, the LA Jazz Society Festival, the Playboy Jazz Festival. And plus, this guy is producing and writing all the time.
Outstanding. So, yeah.
I love the way he blends that sound of that French horn. Ooh, that deep sound. It makes us feel comfortable.
This whole show is in the interest of you building your collection. So go and, if you're still into vinyl, go get the vinyls, go get the albums, get the CDs, or download them. But this is for your own edification, and like I said, to build up your collection. Now, there's somebody that we all are well familiar with. Yeah. They are on the charts, having experienced the biggest gain of all. They jumped 82 places. We're talking about the Yellowjackets. We have talked about them, and we're going to talk about them some more, but that's only after you check out Ecuador.
That's from the new CD, Raising Our Voice, the one and only Yellowjackets.
Russell and the boys.
Yeah, Ecuador. They always, like we were saying, the Yellowjackets music is the type of music that when you start listening to it, you might say, where is that going? And by the halfway of the song, you can't get away from it. You're on pins and needles wondering where they're going next.
Yeah. Russell might have gotten that out of the black church. He did play
the black church
in the Missionary Baptist Church when he was growing up.
He sounds like it too when he's playing.
Yeah.
We're talking about Russell Ferrante.
Yes.
The Yellowjackets.
We are, from time to time, on a regular basis, we drink a little wine. And today, Malvin, let's say this together. La vie ferme.
Yes.
What's that stand for?
French wine.
What's that? Howlin' Wolf would say, what's that represent?
That represent the old farm.
The old farm. Yeah. So, we lift libations.
Yes.
Get your glass up out here, man. Life, love, and jazz. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
The old farm made some good stuff.
Yeah, we're coming from France.
And we got to tell you to be sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, or your favorite podcast provider. Plus, you can get instant access to Riffin' on Jazz. Just text RIFF, RIFF, to 72,000. We're here on the KUDZUKIAN Network. Don't you dare go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Putting the riff in yo jazz. It's Riffin' on Jazz.
We're riffing on jazz.
Grind fed.
I'm your host, Cynthia Daniels.
And I'm your co-host, Williams Brack.
So we're going to be interviewing business owners about their journey. What made them leave their 9-to-5 and just go out and create their own brand?
I think sometimes we overplan things and that can kind of cause a delay or setback. But I would definitely say dive in, get your name started, get your website up, get your business cards.
Grind fed.
Sponsored by Epicenter, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Google Play, and many of your podcast providers.
Grind fed.
KUDZUKIAN.
Riffin' is what we do. We're riffin' on jazz.
Welcome back to Riffin' on Jazz. And we always say you guys are mighty, mighty kind to us. And you always hit us up on Facebook, and we always get fantastic response from you. And we just want to thank our fans, our listeners all over the world. John Shapani from New Hampshire, Magdalena Spack from Poland. Where in Poland is she from, Malvin?
It's Wrocław, Poland. Wrocław, Poland.
I have to have him do this.
It's Wrocław, Poland.
Say that.
Michelle Castellani from Verona, Italy. Deborah Awad. And she couldn't really find out where she was from, but she did say that she thought
she loved that Aretha Franklin
show. The Aretha show was great. Yes, that's pretty cool.
And one of our own talented, superior musicians, whose name is Ekpe Abioto. And Ekpe is from Memphis, Tennessee, and always has nice things to say about our shows and is a very, very avid listener.
Yeah.
So we have a young lady coming up.
Yeah. I did want to mention about the Yellowjackets.
Yes.
The group themselves, like Robin Ford started the group a long time ago with Russell Ferrante, Jimmy Haslip, and Ricky Lawson. Those cats kind of stuff. But anyway, Jimmy Haslip has left
Okay.
the Yellowjackets. He sort of eased out. The cat that's playing now,
Bass player.
Felix Pastorius.
He might have a little pedigree.
Yeah, he might have come from a bass player.
That is Jaco Pastorius' son. And so we've got Karrin Allyson coming up. And Karrin, excuse me.
Yeah, she corrected me once a few years ago.
Karrin Allyson, some of that sunshine.
Life is a mysterious lesson. One never knows what's in store. Just when you think trouble's over, there's more. Everyone has her own theory. Nothing's more fickle than fate. I've always said when it's stormy, just wait. Wrap up some of that sunshine, put it in your pocket for a rainy day. Get your share of good loving. Sometimes too much thinking gets in your way. Nobody said it was gonna be easy. You can't live life in dismay. So wrap up some of that sunshine. It'll come in handy on a rainy day. And take a walk in the moonlight. Time is made of moments you can't replace. Try to look on the bright side. Welcome in tomorrow with a smile on your face. Into each life, rain is bound to come falling. Try as you might to keep it away. So wrap up some of that sunshine. It'll come in handy on a rainy day. Sunshine, put it in your pocket for a rainy day. Get your share of good loving. Sometimes too much thinking gets in the way. Nobody said it was gonna be easy. You can't live your life in dismay. So wrap up some of that sunshine. It's better to collect it. 'Cause when you least expect it, it may come in handy on a rainy day. It'll come in handy on a rainy day. Yeah, boom, 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 boom.
some of that sunshine. Karrin, Allyson.
Karrin.
Yeah.
And Karrin currently stands at number 2 on the Jazz Week charts.
Now that's really cool too. I mean, she bumped that up. This CD's only been out a month.
Oh wow.
Maybe a little more than a month.
Yeah. Hit way up there. We are riffing on This Week in Jazz, a very contemporary show. This is these are some of the hits from the Jazz Week charts. Yes. And again, allows you to even further get deeper into your jazz collection. Yeah. We certainly advise you to go get these cuts and these CDs, these albums, whichever you prefer, and make them your own.
Karrin is not new, but this is a new CD of her. But her skills are such that she sings in French, Portuguese, Spanish, English.
Oh my goodness!
You know, she sings all those languages. She fantastic musician.
Right.
Plays piano too.
Great. So that takes us to the Verve Jazz Ensemble, and they are literally at the top of the charts in Jazz Week, in the Jazz Week charts. And this is Verve. First of all, most of you jazz lovers know, is a legendary. Is a legendary jazz label, and goes way back. And it is gratifying to see that they are still around and still relevant and have yet put together a very, very talented and compelling ensemble group.
These cats are fantastic musicians, educators. Josh Feldstein is the leader. He's the drummer. Their whole idea is to play jazz like it was played back in the past, but to bring it forward. And don't lose the feeling, but add to it, enhance it.
And you're going to see exactly how they do that with My Shining Hour here on Riffin.
music from Josh Feldstein, Tatum Greenblatt, Steve Einerson, and Elias Bailey.
The Verve Jazz Ensemble.
Yeah. These cats are masters, man.
They say they thrive on classic bop, swinging, the Latin, whatever. All this classic jazz genres.
Yeah, these cats, and I tell you, Steve Einerson's fingers are so fast, he freaks me out.
Wow.
The last CD they did, he got a couple of cuts on there. You wouldn't believe how fast he goes with precision. These guys are great, man. These guys are good musicians.
The album is called Connect the Dots.
Yeah.
So make sure
y'all on the charts.
Check that out.
Yeah, by the way, make sure you check us out. We're on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, on Stitcher, on TuneIn, or your favorite podcast provider. And don't forget, you get instant access to Riffin' on Jazz just texting RIFF to 72000. That's RIFF to 72000.
Back with more Riffin' after this.
Riffin' on Jazz.
Best in Blue.
I'm DC.
I'm Leah.
Right here on the Best in Blue.
I'm so happy to be here on this new season.
On this season, we're going to talk a little bit about domestic violence,
traffic,
internet safety.
We're going to have our very own discussions and dialogue with our director, Rollins. Text BNB to 72,000.
Right here on the Best in Blue.
Best in Blue.
On the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Grind Fed.
I'm your host, Cynthia Daniels.
And I'm your co-host, Williams Brack.
So we're going to be interviewing business owners about their journey. What made them leave their 9-to-5 and just go out and create their own brand?
I think sometimes we overplan things and that can kind of cause a delay or setback. But I would definitely say dive in, get your name started, get your website up, get your business cards.
Grind Fed.
Sponsored by Epicenter, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Google Play, and many of your podcast providers.
Grind Fed.
KUDZUKIAN.
Artivism.
Artivism features conversations with artists, creatives, and citizens working at the intersection of art and social activism. And I'm Linda Steele, your host. I'm a grant maker, change maker, social venture capitalist, and I invest in individuals and projects that use the arts as a vehicle for social change.
Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
KUDZUKIAN.
And finally, Dr. Kay Streeter.
Hello.
How are you, Doc?
I am doing fantastic. How are you?
Great. Psychologist and a boxing matchmaker.
She's a Streeter fighter. Okay.
Of the famous Streeter, and Streeter.
Hey, there you go. She's going to bring it to us straight from the Streeter.
Let's talk about this segment, Gumball.
Now is not the time to hate or criticize. Now is the time to disinfect and deodorize. Like the incense, it's going to be funky.
On the KUDZUKIAN Network.
KUDZUKIAN.
It's Eye Conversation.
Elliot Perry, otherwise known as Socks.
Man, thank you. How you guys doing?
Mr. Earl the Pearl Monroe.
Hey, thank you. Nice to be with you guys.
Glad to have Mr. Allen Houston.
Trying to stay warm up here in New York.
I hear you. Personality extraordinaire, Mr. Scoop Jackson.
I appreciate the encore.
Mr. Michael Ray Richardson.
What's up, man? Glad to be here, brother.
A 3-time NBA All-Star, the one, the only Detlef Shrimp.
Howard and Larry, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show.
Eye Conversation. The KUDZUKIAN Network.
KUDZUKIAN.
You're listening to Riffin' on Jazz.
Welcome back to Riffin' on Jazz on the KUDZUKIAN Network. And we are riffing on This Week in Jazz, tunes on the Contemporary Jazz Week chart. And that brings us to Mr. Robert McElhenney James.
Yeah. Better known as Bob
James. Yeah. Those of us who know him
He's starting to be like Louis Armstrong. We're starting to mention Bob James a lot of different shows because he's so involved in music.
Because he had a lot of influence.
Yeah. Because on the rap show, Hip Hop Stole My Jazz. He's the number one
sampled. He's been sampled more than any other artist. Any other jazz artist.
Yeah.
Ain't that something?
And plus the fact that he doesn't do trios too much. This is a trio CD.
Okay.
And we're used to him with foreplay and big orchestras and all that stuff. But this is a trio thing that he wanted to do. He said he likes doing trios. The track that we picked to play off of this trio CD is Groovin' Grover Washington Jr.'s Mr. Magic.
Mr. Magic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now what's the significance in that?
I'm waiting with bated breath.
Bob James arranged and produced it and played on the original in 1975.
Quit
Grover Washington Jr. recorded it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is like
Mr.
a
Magic.
whole home week for him. He
Yeah.
originally played on it and produced it.
And arranged it.
And arranged Mr. Magic.
Yeah, for Grover.
And he's coming back
1975.
to do it. And he's already hit the charts, y'all. He's right up there, climbing, has hit it with a bullet. Bob James doing his song.
Yeah.
Made famous by Grover Washington, Mr. Magic.
Music from Bob James and his trio from the new CD called Espresso on the Evolution Music label.
It would just be, just redundant to say I like that because I love Mr. Magic.
It's a great track anyway.
And I love Information, and I did not know that he produced and arranged the original one.
Yeah. Bob James been around a long time, and he's been an influence, like you said earlier, on a lot of people for years.
Absolutely.
And it just seems like that was just inevitable that the hip-hop artists would start grabbing at his music.
We're riffing on This Week in Jazz, and all of these releases are new. These are not old releases.
This is 2018 stuff.
Yeah, this is up-to-date stuff. So please take note and go out and enjoy expanding your collection of these cuts, and because this is a little of the old and a lot of the new, and this next thing is this is the epitome of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we have Count Basie, one of the legends and cornerstones of jazz, doing an old favorite, Every Day I Have the Blues. And who's singing it, Malvin Massey?
Take Six. You believe that? Yeah.
What? How perfect is that?
Man.
Take Six singing Every Day I Have the Blues in front of the Count Basie Orchestra.
Directed by Scotty Barnhart.
And you're only going to hear it here on Riffin' on Jazz. Check this out.
Every day I have the blues. Every day I have the blues. When you see me worry, baby, and you I hate to lose. Nobody loves me. Nobody seems to care.
Nobody seems to care.
Nobody loves me. Nobody seems to care.
Nobody seems to care.
Speaking of bad luck and trouble, you know I have my share.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm gonna pack my suitcase and move on down the line. Yeah, I'm gonna pack my suitcase and move on down the line. See, there ain't nobody worrying, and I don't see nobody crying, not for me. Yeah.
Well, every day I have a blues.
From sundown to sunrise, every day
Yeah.
Now that is what we are talking about.
Yeah.
Count Basie and Take 6.
That band has been going on for 78 years.
Is that right?
That's what I believe it is, 78 years.
Oh my goodness. Take 6. You have the Oakwood College. I believe it's in Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay.
To thank for, we all have them to thank for Take 6. That is where the group got together. And, we were talking about song stylists, and Take 6 is at the top of the song stylists being memorable, unique vocal interpretations. That's how we described it. And that could be no other than Take 6.
Just like you said, once you hear one or two notes, you already know who that is.
Yes, yes, you do. And they sing in not simple, but complex 5- and 6-part harmony.
Oh yeah, the voice band. Anyway, that's that new Count Basie Orchestra, the Count Basie Orchestra CD, all about that Basie. Mm-hmm. Brand new. It hasn't been out, but it hasn't even been a month. It jumped on the chart already.
Wow.
Speaking of the chart, I want to give a shout out to Ed Trevsger. Now, he's the publisher and the editor of Jazz Week magazine.
Okay.
He put on the summit out in San Jose that I went to. He is the guy who collects the data so everybody knows whose music is selling and whose music isn't.
Right.
And we all radio stations all report to Jazz Week magazine. He compiles all the numbers and he comes up with the chart. And it's a tough job. And he's like everybody else in the world of jazz right now. He's reaching for money. He's needing help. He's got it going, but he needs support.
Support.
But he's doing a great job with it, though.
Hey, and that brings us to a close of another show. We are happy that you joined us. We're going to go out with Antonio Adolfo, and he's doing a song that he wrote. That a funny story about this, I heard Malvin play this on WUMR one morning and responded to him via text that I really, really like that version of Pretty World. He said, that ain't Pretty World. That's Sar Marina. And came to find out we were both right. It is Pretty World, but it's also called, the original title was Sar Marina.
Yeah, the original title. Yeah.
This is the composer of it, and we want to thank you for being with us here on Riffin'. I'm going to ask that you please join us again next week, same place, same time. And we're going to ask that you take care of yourselves and take care of each other. We will be back with more Riffin'. I'm Howard Robertson.
I'm Malvin Massey.
Y'all take care.
Riffin' on Jazz. Executive produced by KUDZUKIAN. Co-host by Howard Robertson and Malvin Massey Jr. Music curation by Howard and Malvin. And recorded at KUDZUKIAN Studios. Riffin' on Jazz. Part of the KUDZUKIAN Network.